So, in terms of a clinician like myself with other active clinicians, if you want to check sort of the damage of your diet, if you really wanted to be kind of show patients, you mentioned in your book checking not just glucose levels or even so much hemoglobin A1C,
Yeah,
but really looking at
those are the last ones. Yeah.
fasting insulin.
Fasting insulin to me is the key to the whole story. Now, the problem is that the American Diabetes Association tells doctors not to draw fasting insulin. Now, they do that for two reasons, neither of which is important. But it is true that fasting insulin levels around the world are not standardized. And the reason is because some assays pick up proinsulin too.
Okay.
But so what? Because if your level's high, you got a problem. And then the other reason is because fasting insulin levels are not correlated with obesity. That's right. They're correlated with metabolic health because there are a lot of thin people who are sick too.
Right.
So the two reasons that the American Diabetes Association say don't draw fasting insulin are both specious and wrong. And I have been working tirelessly to get this message out. I will have a debate with anyone from the ADA any day, any time about the role of fasting insulin in terms of monitoring and treating metabolic health. And, they just don't want to
Well,
go
their recommendations are crazy and to some degree. 24 grams of sugar for a woman in 24 hours added sugar, 36 for a man. I mean, where do you get those numbers? And that's added sugar. Does that mean it's all sugar, fructose, it's a little bit too gross and unspecific.
Well, that was not the American Diabetes Association. That was the American Heart Association.
Oh.
And I actually contributed to those. So, we using the best data that we had back in 2009, we came up with those numbers, and I actually stand by them. But the American Diabetes Association, they don't think sugar is a problem at all. In fact, if you go to their website right now, it basically says sugar is not the cause of diabetes. And Diabetes UK says the same thing, except they both take money from Coca-Cola. I'm sorry, Pepsi-Cola.
Oh my God, down the rabbit hole. I can't believe it. What do you think of intermittent fasting? These are quick questions, so I don't waste all your time here.
Intermittent fasting works, but for the right patient. So who's the right patient? The reason intermittent fasting works is because it gives the liver a chance to burn off the fat that has developed over the previous 16 hours. So people with fatty liver disease, intermittent fasting will work. Now, if you don't have fatty liver, intermittent fasting is not the answer. So you have to be the right patient. Now, who's the right patient? You have to figure out whether you have fatty liver. How do you do that? Well, you need to go look at your ALT level, your alanine aminotransferase level. And if it's over 25, then you probably have some fat in your liver. So, I'm for intermittent fasting, but I'm for it for the right patient.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone's less than 25 based from Quest and, conventional labs.
That's because everyone's got fatty liver.
Oh, I'm so scared now. All right, I'll be looking. But I have really never seen anything lower than those numbers, than 20, 25. Okay.
When I entered medical school, in 1976, the upper limit of normal for ALT was 25. It's now 40. And the reason is because everyone's got fatty liver. The entire curve has shifted to the right.
And you're okay with the normal ranges within our conventional lab system, because as a clinician, we don't have that many things to offer otherwise people have to pay out of pocket for outside labs.
No, I'm not okay with normal ranges at all. I think the whole normal range needs to be dropped from the lab slip. The reason it's there is because that's $10. That's an interpretation. So the lab actually gets to charge more for an interpretation when you have that H or L, the high or low.
Really?
Okay, so that whole thing is based on a reference range, which is based on, quote, a normal population, except no one's normal. So what good is it?
Need a drink. Okay.
Me too.
Glycemic index. Yes, no, bad, good. Probably not something people were really into the glycemic diets and really looking at which foods.
Glycemic index is a canard. Glycemic load is not. I believe in glycemic load. I do not believe in glycemic index. The perfect example of this is carrots.
Yeah.
So carrots have a high glycemic index. If you eat 50 grams of carbohydrate in carrots, your blood glucose will go pretty high. Question is, how many carrots do you have to eat? to get 50 grams of carbohydrate. You have to eat 700 grams of carrots. You have to eat 1.4 pounds of carrots to get 50 grams of carbohydrate because it's all fiber. Carrots are all fiber, and fiber is good, and fiber is actually mitigating the glucose rise. Right. So carrots are high glycemic index, low glycemic load. Well, every food is a low glycemic load food if it came out of the ground and didn't get processed.
Okay, interesting. So glucose monitors, good, bad, new, they're stuck in people's arms. You can see them at the pools. I mean, tell me what you think of those, because they're pretty innovative.
Yeah, so basically glucose, first of all, I have to, full disclosure, I am an advisor to Levels Health, which is a glucose monitor software company. So people need to understand that.
Okay.
One of the reasons I joined is because I see the value in it.
Okay.
Glucose, continuous glucose monitoring is a proxy for insulin.
Right.
And insulin's the important thing. So if you can keep your insulin down, you're going to stop all these chronic metabolic diseases. Get the insulin down. Now, an insulin monitor is probably 5 years away, but glucose is a reasonable proxy. So keeping your glucose down is a good idea. And so I'm for continuous glucose monitoring. And that's one of the reasons I help Levels Health and why I actually do support this. The problem, of course, is that currently insurance companies won't pay for glucose monitors unless you actually have frank diabetes. And I think this is a mistake.